10 most powerful luxury sedans that leave supercars staring at their taillights. Close your eyes for just a moment and imagine this. You are sitting in the back seat of a car so quiet that the only sound you can hear is the soft leather adjusting to your posture. The cabin smells of hand-stitched Napa leather and polished walnut. A masseuse is working your lower back, except it is not a person. It is the seat itself, programmed to knead away your tension at 30,000 feet per hour. You are draped in more comfort than most five-star hotel suites can offer. And then the light turns green. The driver touches the accelerator. And in 3 seconds flat, you have just left a Lamborghini Huracan staring at your taillights, wondering what just happened. That is not a fantasy. That is Tuesday morning in one of the 10 cars we are counting down today. These are not ordinary luxury sedans. These are engineering masterpieces built by obsessive teams of scientists and designers who refuse to accept that you have to choose between absolute comfort and supercar-level speed. Some of them pack twin-turbocharged V8 engines wrapped in enough technology to launch a satellite. Others combine the brutality of internal combustion with the instant torque of electric motors to produce power figures that would have seemed impossible in a four-door passenger car just 10 years ago. One of them produces more torque than a Formula One car. Another can travel 40 miles on pure electricity before its V8 even wakes up. And the one at the very top of this list sits in a category so extreme, so far beyond what any normal performance sedan was designed to do, that calling it a sedan feels almost like an insult to what it actually is. We are counting down from number 10 to number 1. Each car on this list is more powerful, more extraordinary, and more jaw-dropping than the one before it. So stay with us from the very beginning, because the car at number 1 will genuinely redefine what you thought was possible inside 4 doors and a trunk. Let us begin. Coming in at number 10 is the Genesis G93.5T twin-turbo. And if you have never considered Genesis as a serious contender in the flagship luxury space, this car is about to change your mind permanently. Genesis is the luxury division of Hyundai, and when Korean engineers set out to build a car that could challenge the Germans and the British on their own turf, they did not play it safe. The G90 is a full-size luxury flagship, long, wide, low, and dramatic in a way that earns second glances from people who have no idea what they are looking at. The exterior design language is called athletic elegance, and it delivers exactly that. A long sweeping hood leads to Genesis's signature two-line headlight system, twin LED strips that stretch along the front fascia like the eyes of something very fast and very confident. The massive crest grille dominates the front, flanked by muscular front fenders that hint at the power sitting underneath. The body panels flow with long, sculpted creases that give the car a sense of movement even while standing completely still. Under that hood sits a 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6 engine working alongside a 48-volt mild hybrid electric supercharger system. Together they produce 409 horsepower and 405 pound-feet of torque. Power flows through an 8-speed automatic transmission to all 4 wheels through Genesis's intelligent all-wheel drive system. 0 to 60 miles per hour arrives in approximately 5 seconds, smooth, effortless, and so refined that passengers in the rear might not even notice the acceleration happening around them. That is the point. The G90 was not engineered to excite the driver. It was engineered to make everyone inside it forget that the outside world exists at all. The ride quality is extraordinary. Genesis fitted the G90 with an adaptive air suspension system that reads the road surface through sensors and adjusts the dampers before the wheels even reach imperfections. It does not react to bumps. It predicts them and removes them before they arrive. The result is a ride quality that floats rather than drives, a sensation that puts it in direct conversation with Rolls-Royce and Bentley at a fraction of the price. Inside, the cabin is a masterclass in restrained opulence. Premium Nappa leather covers every surface the body might contact. Genuine wood trim flows across the full width of the dashboard. Ambient lighting shifts through multiple color temperatures to match the mood of the journey. Front and rear passengers enjoy heated, ventilated, and massaging seats. Active noise cancellation uses external microphones to detect road noise and generates opposing sound waves to cancel it before it reaches the cabin. The result is a near-total absence of the outside world, exactly what a flagship luxury car is supposed to deliver. At number 9, we arrive at a car that refuses to accept the concept of compromise. The Cadillac CT5V Blackwing. And for anyone who thought American performance sedans had lost their edge, buckle up. The CT5V Blackwing is what happens when Cadillac's most obsessive engineers are given a blank check and a very simple instruction: build the greatest performance sedan that an American company has ever produced. What they came back with is a car that has genuinely shocked the European establishment. Under the hood sits a supercharged 6.2-liter V8 engine, the same fundamental architecture used in the Chevrolet Corvette Z06, producing 668 horsepower and 659 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 arrives in 3.4 seconds. The quarter mile disappears in 11.1 seconds. And it is available with a 6-speed manual transmission, the only true manual gearbox available in any luxury performance sedan at this power level anywhere on Earth. In a world of paddles and algorithms, that is a statement about what driving is supposed to feel like. The exterior of the CT5V Blackwing wears its performance intent on its skin. A wider front fascia with functional brake cooling ducts, a larger rear spoiler that generates real aerodynamic downforce, carbon fiber hood vents that are not decorative but actually vent heat from the supercharged engine, and a quad exhaust setup that produces a sound so American and so unapologetic that it has been known to trigger car alarms in adjacent parking spaces. This is not a subtle car. It was not designed to be. Inside, the cabin blends genuine luxury with serious performance equipment. Semi-aniline leather and microfiber suede cover the aggressively bolstered front sport seats. A 12-inch diagonal infotainment display runs Cadillac's latest interface. Carbon fiber trim, aluminum accents, and a flat-bottomed steering wheel reinforce the performance DNA throughout. But what makes the CT5V Blackwing's interior special is what it hides: a performance data recorder that can capture video and telemetry data of every drive, a full-color head-up display that projects speed and navigation information onto the windshield, and magnetic ride control dampers that adjust their firmness 1,000 times per second to deliver a ride that is both composed and comfortable. At its price point, the Blackwing does not just compete with European performance sedans. It beats them. And yet, somehow, the power numbers are about to escalate dramatically. Because at number 8, we are stepping into the world of pure European performance obsession. Number 8 is the Audi RS7 Performance. And if you believe that a four-door car cannot be genuinely beautiful, the RS7 will challenge that belief from the moment you lay eyes on it. The RS7 is built on what Audi calls the Gran Turismo body style, a sleek fastback silhouette that blends the practicality of a four-door hatchback with the drama of a coupe roofline. The result is a car that looks lower, wider, and faster than almost anything else on a public road while still having enough rear headroom to carry adults in comfort. The front fascia is dominated by Audi's massive single-frame grille in a matte dark finish, flanked by RS-specific matrix LED headlights and air intakes large enough to cool serious amounts of heat. The roofline slopes dramatically to the rear, where a deployable carbon fiber spoiler rises automatically above 75 miles per hour and drops flat below 50 to reduce drag during normal cruising. Wide RS-specific fender flares cover 21-inch wheels without looking afterthought. Every element of this exterior serves a purpose and communicates the same message: that something serious is happening underneath it. Underneath it, a 4.0-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine produces 621 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque in the RS7 performance specification. An 8-speed automatic transmission routes power to Audi's legendary Quattro all-wheel drive system, and the result is a 0 to 60 time of 3.6 seconds with launch control engaged. Top speed is electronically limited to 155 miles per hour in standard form, but RS7 buyers can specify the optional dynamic package that raises that ceiling to 190 miles per hour, a speed at which this car's aerodynamic aids are earning their engineering budget in real time. Inside, the RS7 cockpit is one of the most driver-focused environments in the luxury performance world. A massive curved display spans the width of the dashboard, combining a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster with a pair of NMI touch displays stacked vertically in the center console. Valcona leather wraps the sport seats, which grip the occupant during cornering with a firmness that communicates exactly what the chassis is doing at all times. Carbon fiber, brushed aluminum, and open-pore wood trim are available depending on whether the driver wants the cabin to feel like a racing cockpit or a luxury lounge, and the RS7 manages to be both simultaneously. A Bang & Olufsen 3D advanced sound system with 23 speakers and 1,820 watts of output turns the cabin into an acoustic environment that rivals dedicated concert venues. The RS7 performance does not just make its 621 horsepower available to the driver. It makes the experience of accessing those 621 horsepower feel like a privilege. But we are just getting started, because at number 7, the horsepower figures cross into territory that begins to feel genuinely extreme. Number 7. The Porsche Panamera Turbo S. A car that does not simply blur the line between luxury sedan and supercar. It erases it entirely. Porsche has spent decades building two-door sports cars that define the concept of driving excellence. The 911 is perhaps the most celebrated driver's machine in automotive history. So when Porsche decided to build a four-door luxury sedan, the engineering community wondered whether the company would dilute its DNA or apply it wholesale to a new format. The Panamera Turbo S answers that question with a four-door body, for proper adult seats, a proper trunk, and a 0 to 60 time of 2.9 seconds. That is supercar territory. That is faster than most Ferraris built before the year 2010. The engine responsible for this is a 4.0-liter twin-turbocharged V8 producing 620 horsepower and 604 pound-feet of torque, channeled through Porsche's 8-speed PDK dual-clutch transmission and its PTM all-wheel drive system. The PDK gearbox shifts faster than any human clutch foot could manage. Its gear changes are measured in milliseconds, and the transition from one ratio to the next is so fast that the power delivery feels completely seamless. Porsche Active Suspension Management continuously adjusts the damping rate of all four corners thousands of times per second, keeping the car planted through corners that would unsettle any normal sedan, while remaining compliant enough on straight roads that rear passengers can read without discomfort. The exterior of the Panamera Turbo S wears its performance with confidence rather than aggression. Active aerodynamic elements, a deployable rear spoiler, and adaptive front air intakes adjust automatically based on speed and driving mode. The adaptive LED headlights swivel in the direction of steering to illuminate corners before the car arrives at them. The wide body, low roofline, and muscular haunches give it a presence on the road that is unmistakably Porsche while being completely unique to this model. Inside, the cabin offers a driver-focused cockpit wrapped in premium leather, brushed aluminum, and carbon fiber, surrounding a suite of digital displays and physical controls positioned with the precision of a cockpit designer rather than an interior decorator. Every switch, every knob, every display is exactly where a driver's hands and eyes naturally fall. Passengers in the rear enjoy their own climate zone, heated and ventilated seats, and a reclined seating position that makes the already generous legroom feel positively generous. The Panamera Turbo S does not ask its occupants to choose between performance and luxury. It delivers both with such apparent ease that the combination stops feeling like a compromise and starts feeling like the only logical way to build a car. At number 6, we move to an icon. A car that has defined the very concept of the high-performance luxury sedan for more than 3 decades. The BMW M5. The BMW M5 has existed in one form or another since 1985. In that time, it has been many things: a naturally aspirated inline-six sleeper, a thundering V10 beast, a high-revving twin-turbo V8 monster. The current generation M5, designated the G90, represents the most powerful M5 ever built, and it achieves the distinction through a first in the model's history. A plug-in hybrid powertrain combining a 585 horsepower version of BMW's 4.4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 with a 197 horsepower electric motor for a combined system output of 717 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 arrives in 3.4 seconds. That is a number that belongs in the same conversation as the Porsche 911 Carrera S, not a full-size luxury sedan. The M5 can also travel on electric power alone, silently, invisibly, with no exhaust noise and no fuel consumption, for short distances in urban environments. It is one of the most technologically contradictory vehicles ever built. A car that can be whispered through a neighborhood in complete electric silence and then, 2 minutes later, pinned against the back of its seat, while the twin-turbo V8 and electric motor combine their outputs into something that genuinely frightens even experienced performance drivers. The exterior of the G90 M5 is restrained by the standards of what lives underneath it. The wider front fascia, the larger air intakes, the subtle trunk lid spoiler, and the quad exhaust outlets are the only visual clues that separate this car from a standard 5 Series. BMW calls this approach understated aggression. The idea is that the car's performance should shock people rather than advertise itself in advance. The approach works. Footage of unsuspecting sports car drivers being passed by an M5 they identified as a family sedan has become a YouTube genre of its own. Inside, the cabin blends BMW's latest curved display technology, a single sweeping glass panel housing a 12.3-inch instrument cluster and a 14.9-inch infotainment display, with merino leather upholstery, M-specific sport seats, with aggressive bolstering, carbon fiber trim options, and a Bowers & Wilkins diamond surround sound system with 36 speakers and 1,965 watts of output. Driving the M5 quickly, the performance is staggering. Driving it slowly, it is a genuinely excellent luxury car. That combination, the ability to convincingly play both roles without feeling like a compromise in either direction, is what has made the M5 nameplate legendary for 4 decades and what makes the current generation the finest expression of that legacy it built. But as extraordinary as the M5 is, number 5 belongs to a car from a brand that has spent over a century defining what a luxury automobile is supposed to be. Number 5. The Bentley Flying Spur Speed. Built in Crewe, England, by hand, one at a time, by craftspeople whose skill sets are closer to watchmakers than to factory workers. The Flying Spur Speed is Bentley's most powerful 4-door sedan, and it achieves that status through a hybrid powertrain that pairs a twin-turbocharged 4.0-liter V8 producing 591 horsepower with a 188 horsepower electric motor for a combined output of 771 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 arrives in 3.2 seconds. In a car that weighs nearly 3 tons, 5,833 pounds of handcrafted British luxury, That acceleration figure is not just impressive. It is defiant. It is the automotive equivalent of a Victorian manor house, somehow beating a racing motorcycle off a standing start. The engineering required to make 5,800 pounds vanish that quickly is extraordinary, and it is a tribute to what an 800-volt electrical architecture combined with intelligent torque management can achieve even in the most unlikely circumstances. But performance, in the context of a Bentley, is almost the secondary story. The primary story is what happens inside the cabin, because the Flying Spur's interior is the most spectacular environment available in any production automobile at any price. The dashboard is available in over 90 exterior color combinations and can be specified with veneers from 17 different wood species, each one hand-selected, hand-matched, and hand-finished to an absolute mirror gloss by craftspeople trained in techniques that predate the automobile itself. The leather used on the seats is sourced exclusively from hides grown in climates cool enough that the cattle never required barbed wire fencing, eliminating the possibility of surface scratches before the leather even reaches the factory. Hand-stitched quilted patterns on the seat backs require over 150,000 individual stitches per seat. The optional three-dimensional rotating dashboard centerpiece, a panel that spins to reveal either an analog clock, an infotainment display, or a veneer panel matching the rest of the dashboard, is something that no description can adequately convey. It must be seen to be believed. The Flying Spur Speed does not just cost more than most homes in some parts of the world. It justifies that cost in a way that almost nothing else manufactured today can match. And yet, even the Flying Spur Speed is not the most powerful sedan in this countdown. Because at number 4, an entirely different philosophy of power enters the conversation. Number 4. The Tesla Model S Plaid. And before any skepticism sets in, understand this: the numbers about to follow are real, they have been independently verified, and they belong in this conversation regardless of whether the word electric was part of your original expectations. The Tesla Model S Plaid uses 3 electric motors, 1 driving the front wheels and 2 driving the rear, to produce a combined output of 1,020 horsepower. 1,020. From a standing start, with launch control engaged, the Model S Plaid reaches 60 miles per hour in 1.99 seconds. That is not a misprint. That is under 2 seconds. It is faster than every production Ferrari currently on sale. It is faster than the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. It is faster than virtually every car with a combustion engine that has ever been offered for sale to the public in the 100-year history of the automobile. And it accomplishes this in a full-size 5-passenger luxury sedan with a frunk, a trunk, and enough range to travel over 300 miles between charges. The acceleration is not exciting in the way that a supercar is exciting, with noise and drama and a sense that something dangerous is happening. It is terrifying in a different way. It is silent. It is instantaneous. There is no buildup, no revving, no warning. One moment the car is stopped. The next moment, the world is moving past at a speed that the human brain genuinely struggles to process as real. The interior of the Model S Plaid is as unconventional as its powertrain. A massive 17-inch portrait touchscreen dominates the center console, controlling virtually every function of the vehicle through a software interface that is updated over the air while the car sits in the driveway. A second 12.3-inch display faces the rear passengers, providing entertainment and climate control from the back seat. The yoke-style steering wheel has been redesigned with haptic controls replacing traditional stalks, though a conventional steering wheel is now available for buyers who prefer it. Premium white ash wood, matte carbon fiber, and acoustic glass combine to create a cabin that is genuinely refined, not in the traditional handcrafted sense of a Bentley or a Rolls-Royce, but in a way that is entirely contemporary, entirely digital, and entirely unlike anything else available. The Model S Plaid does not play by the traditional rules of this category. It wrote its own rules and then drove over the old ones at 1.99 seconds to 60. But incredibly, with 1,020 horsepower already on the table, the countdown still has 3 cars remaining. 3 cars that produce more power than the Tesla. 3 cars that add genuine combustion drama to extraordinary performance. Starting at number 3. Number 3. The Rolls-Royce Ghost Black Badge. The darkest, most powerful, and most psychologically compelling version of the most famous luxury automobile brand in the history of the world. Rolls-Royce created the Black Badge series for a very specific kind of customer, someone who finds the standard Ghost slightly too restrained, too polite, too focused on being a flawless passenger vehicle, and not quite enough of a driver's car. The Black Badge answers that criticism with a twin-turbocharged 6.75-liter V12 engine producing 591 horsepower and 664 pound-feet of torque, an increase over the standard Ghost that arrives not through adding cylinders or displacement, but through recalibrating the engine's character to deliver its power with more urgency, more immediacy, more willingness to be driven hard. 0 to 60 in approximately 4.6 seconds. In a car that weighs nearly 5,400 pounds and wraps its occupants in what Rolls-Royce engineers call the waftability of total comfort, that is exceptional. But the Black Badge story is not primarily about power. It is about what Rolls-Royce does to every surface, every detail, and every sensation when given instructions to make the Ghost darker, more exclusive, and more expressive. Every exterior chrome element is replaced with high-gloss black. The famous Spirit of Ecstasy mascot on the hood is cast in polished black stainless steel. The coach line, the thin decorative stripe that runs the length of every Rolls-Royce body, is painted by hand by a single craftsperson in Goodwood, England, using a brush made from squirrel hair in a single uninterrupted stroke. If the stroke is not perfect, the entire car body is repainted, and the process begins again. The interior cabin is available in carbon black with veneer, a process that infuses carbon fiber weaved directly into real wood to create a material that has never existed before Rolls-Royce developed it specifically for this car. Leather options include shades so dark that they absorb ambient light rather than reflecting it. The Ghost Black Badge is not simply a performance upgrade to a luxury sedan. It is a philosophical statement about what a car can communicate about its owner. And it communicates that statement in a language that only other people who understand Rolls-Royce can fully read. At number 2, we arrive at the car that currently holds the title of the most powerful production sedan ever built by Mercedes-Benz in over a century of manufacturing. The Mercedes-AMG S63e Performance. Mercedes-Benz has been building performance versions of its flagship S-Class sedan since the 1980s, and with each generation the engineers have managed to find more power, more capability, and more drama hidden within the bones of what is fundamentally a supremely comfortable luxury limousine. The current S63 achieves its position in this countdown through a plug-in hybrid powertrain that blends AMG's twin-turbocharged 4.0-liter V8, producing 604 horsepower on its own, with a rear-mounted electric motor drawing power from a 13.1 kilowatt-hour battery pack to contribute an additional 188 horsepower. Combined system output stands at 791 horsepower, and brace yourself for this number, 1,055 pound-feet of torque. That torque figure is not a misprint. 1,055 pound-feet. That is a number associated with large diesel commercial trucks. In an S-Class sedan that glides over potholes, massages its passengers, and plays music through a premium Burmester sound system, that torque figure belongs in a different reality. And yet it is real. 0 to 60 arrives in 3.0 seconds. The quarter mile disappears in 11.0 seconds. The S63 has been independently tested dragging against supercars and winning, because 1,055 pound-feet of torque simply does not negotiate with physics. It overrules it. The exterior carries AMG's performance identity through its massive Panamera grille with vertical slats, 21-inch forged AMG wheels, flared front intakes, and a discreet trunk-lid spoiler. Inside, the cabin represents the finest expression of what Mercedes-Benz currently knows how to build. Nappa leather in virtually unlimited color combinations. A 12.8-inch MBUX infotainment display. A 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. Burmester high-end 4D surround sound with speakers embedded in the seat backs to add physical resonance to the audio experience. Rear axle steering that reduces the turning circle in parking situations and increases high-speed stability simultaneously. Active ride control that keeps the body level during hard cornering without transmitting that firmness to the passengers inside. The S63e performance is the most extreme expression of the S-Class philosophy, the idea that a car can be everything, simultaneously, without compromise, and without apology. At starting prices above $180,000, it demands serious commitment. What it offers in return is a four-door sedan that is measurably, provably, faster than a car with the word turbo in its name and the Porsche badge on its hood. And yet even 791 horsepower with 1,055 pound-feet of torque, a number that was the most extreme figure in this entire countdown until the final countdown position, is not enough for the car we are about to describe. Number 1. The Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid. The most powerful Porsche sedan ever created. The most powerful production sedan that Porsche has ever built. And by the reckoning of every independent test and every automotive publication that has evaluated it, one of the most extraordinary four-door automobiles that has ever existed. The Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid combines the same 4.0-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine found in the standard Turbo S, already producing 620 horsepower, with a larger, more capable plug-in hybrid system featuring a 25.9 kilowatt-hour battery pack and an electric motor that contributes an additional 187 horsepower. Combined system output reaches 771 horsepower and 774 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 miles per hour arrives in 2.8 seconds. Not 2.9. Not 3.0. 2.8 seconds. In a full-size luxury sedan with 4 proper doors, for proper adult seats, a proper trunk, and a ride quality that Porsche describes as executive-class comfort, and every independent reviewer has confirmed lives up to that description. A car that can drive 31 miles on electric power alone, silently, in complete zero-emission comfort. Then, when the V8 and the electric motor combine their outputs, deliver 2.8-second supercar acceleration without any warning, any buildup, or any drama. It simply arrives. The Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid sits at the top of a model range that already contained what we described at number 7 as one of the greatest performance luxury sedans ever built. This version takes everything that made the standard Turbo S extraordinary, and then adds the electric dimension in a way that makes the hybrid feel not like a compromise between two technologies, but like the evolutionary conclusion of both. The electric motor fills every gap in the V8's torque curve before it becomes relevant, meaning power delivery feels absolutely seamless from idle to top speed. Active aerodynamics keep the car planted at speed. Adaptive air suspension with Porsche Dynamic Chassis Control adjusts the car's behavior between complete luxury touring compliance and full sports car precision with a single mode selection, and the transition between those two states takes approximately 500 milliseconds. The car does not gradually change what it is. It is one thing, and then, almost instantly, it is something completely different. At starting prices above $200,000, and climbing significantly with the options that buyers of this car typically add. The Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid is not a car for considering carefully. It is a car for people who have already decided that ordinary performance, ordinary luxury, and ordinary four-door transportation are not sufficient, and who are prepared to pay whatever the invoice says to be proven right. 2.8 seconds to 60 miles per hour. 771 horsepower. An electric range of 31 miles. A top speed of 195 miles per hour. 4 doors. 4 seats. A trunk. And a ride quality that makes 5-star hotels feel like they have room to improve. That is the Porsche Panamera Turbo SE Hybrid. That is number 1 on a list of the 10 most powerful luxury sedans in the world. And that is proof, definitive, inarguable, measurable proof, that in the right hands, a 4-door family car can be the most exciting vehicle on the planet. If this countdown surprised you, shocked you, or made you reconsider what you thought a luxury sedan could be, drop a comment telling us which car on this list you would choose if the money did not matter. And subscribe, because we will keep bringing you the automotive truth that the dealerships do not want you to think about too carefully. See you in the next one.